I kicked around this idea before of just stopping. Now, what I mean by stopping is stop trying to make things better in my environment. Stop coming up with ideas to make things better. Stop giving advice. Just observe. Because it seems like the more I try to interject, the more I try to make a positive dent, to try to make things better, I feel like I just get, well, number one, it's not worth it. And do people really deserve it? Do they really deserve my efforts? Like, people in the comments will be like, you're stupid, you're not a good man, blah, 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 blah. When I know for a fact I'm a good man, I'm a catch. And it's not me being arrogant when I say this. Other people say, oh, you're arrogant. No. I know myself very well. And I'm still learning myself. I probably know myself better than most people know themselves. When I keep trying to make things better, trying to fight to make things better, trying to put the truth out there, and it's reciprocated with strife, ridicule, mockery, non-recognition, throwing out ideas in whatever environment, and it falls on deaf ears. Why should I try anymore? Why should it, like, life for me just seems like it gets harder and harder, and the more I try to make things better for whatever an environment I'm in, it's a detriment to me. It's a burden I take. And who takes my burdens? Me. Nobody takes my burdens. Nobody takes on my burdens. So why should I try? I'm more than capable of having a fabulous relationship with a woman. I understand female nature, and I understand what women want, what they need. In my life, I've had so many women just walk away to never speak to me again, like I beat them, like I cheated on them, like I was a drug addict, when I was nothing like that, when I did nothing, none of those things. And they can just so easily walk away to never speak to me again. I went from being a main character in their life to just some random person that they act like they've never met before. Being in intimate moments of their lives, and I'm not talking just sexually. I'm talking about being there for them when nobody else was there for them. And I'm not a saint, I'm not saying I'm perfect. But you look out there and you see what really wins in this life. The guys that I talk about, the guys that use women, the guys that beat women, the guys that cheat on women, guys that steal, one up on somebody, manipulate. Like I said, I have plenty of skeletons in my closet from when I was younger. I was not perfect, but I have flipped the script. And to see all of my hard work just being for nothing, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm on constant threat. Constant threat. That's what it feels like. Now, I'm sure other men feel the same thing. Maybe it's just normal for being a man. You're always under threat. You're always going through this struggle. Feeling like you never get the payoff. Jeez, man, what's my hard work actually gonna mean? It doesn't? Okay. I guess I'm just going through the motions just because I have to. You laugh in the faces of absurdity. You laugh at things failing when in this universe is supposedly random, but you're like, okay, sure, that just happened. Sure, okay, that sure happened for no that the randomness completely explains that. Yeah, but I'm just like, I think at this point, the man that I've forged myself into, the man that I've become, all the wisdom, people, oh, you're uneducated, you're stupid. Well, I'm probably a lot smarter than you. Why would I say something like that? Because the fact that you call somebody uneducated, challenging their intelligence, not even knowing anything about them, where they've been, because I say something that you don't agree with. It's just constant negativity, constant. You try to make things better. You try to make things socially appeasing for people. You try to make things comfortable in different environments. You recognize, okay, maybe I'm being too standoffish. Maybe I need to lighten up a little bit. You lighten up. Same result as there was before, and you realize, maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe it's everybody else. And then you mess with yourself. It's like, how can it be everybody else? I've made changes. I've changed things around. And you still get the same negativity. The efforts that you try, and it's like, what's the point? So it's almost like, why don't I just give the bare minimum? Just give the bare minimum of this life, and all the good stuff that I can give can just go with me to the grave. All the advice, all the knowledge I've acquired, all the wisdom, just observe and don't interject. That's where I'm getting to. Just letting the chaos happen. Because when I try to stop the chaos, no, I'm not talking about my own personal life. It's just when I see it, it's like I can interject it, I can help out. I can give advice, I can give some ideas. And it's met with nothing. It's like, why bother? Yeah, that's basically where I'm getting to at this point, where just let them suffer. And maybe if the universe or God, maybe I'm being punished for taking on other people's burdens and trying to help out. Maybe they're supposed to go through strife. Maybe they're supposed to go through struggle, and I'm making it out of the kindness of my heart to try to avoid that for them. But that was put there intentionally so they grow up. And I'm like I said, this isn't about my own personal, the people around me in my own personal life, but in different environments I've noticed. Let them sink. Let them swim. Just be quiet. And I think that's where I'm getting to, is just show up, put on my little song and dance for everybody, where, give them the basic NPC treatment. Some people I connect with better than other people, but, it's just, you see them, you acknowledge they're alive with a little nod or morning, How are you? Like, I don't care. You don't care. If the people, if I was to expose myself to the people who said, hey, you okay? Is everything alright? They would immediately withdraw. I have to face everything on my own constantly. This is what it takes to be a man. Nobody's coming in to save me. I have to do everything on my own. There's no help. No help from the universe. No help from God. Just me. And, I've come to accept that. It's just, when I see something that can be improved, I like to, hey, that's why I kind of like making these videos, just to expose the truth. But I think I'm getting to the point where it's just like, just observe. Don't interject. Let the chaos reign. Because that's what's going to happen anyway. People don't want to listen to reason. They don't want to think. So, fine. I'll do what I have to do until, thankfully, it's over. And I don't have to be here on this planet anymore. I was walking. I'm walking back and forth to work. I know what it sounds like. Oh my God, he's gonna hurt himself. No, I'm not gonna hurt myself. No, it's the opposite, actually. I'm trying to better myself. I'm not gonna ever take myself out. But do I like being here? No. Am I over it? Yeah, I've been over it. I was walking, it's crazy. I think this is when you really stop like really giving a fuck. And I go through periods of giving fuck and not giving a fuck. But after work today, I was like beat down. And I walk to work now. I walk and I don't have to. But I do. It's like a mile and a half to work. It's like, hey, that's a perfect opportunity where I can get steps in. No, I gotta do it anyway. Well, hey, it might save me a couple pennies on gas. It might save on the wear and tear on the vehicle, and uh, I'm a cautious person. I'm a safe person. But when I was walking home today, because there's where I work, there's a pretty busy road. It's a double lane on both sides. And I think it's like 45. From where I work to the stoplight's probably, I don't know, a football field and a half, maybe 2 football fields. So there's no sidewalk. And when I walk to work, I walk in the little ditch. It's a pretty big ditch, probably like this, But like right next to it, like there's the road, so these cars are zooming past me pretty quick. And what I usually do is when I see a car coming that won't get over to the next lane, I usually step on the grass and just walk to the grass. I did the opposite today, because I like to see them coming in case one is about to hit me. Maybe I can make a move real quick, jump in the air, jump out of the way instead of getting smashed through. Maybe I go flying, but at least I'm not gonna be ran over. No, today I was walking while the cars are coming beside me, just in that ditch. Just not even caring. No, I stayed in my little ditch, but I didn't go on the grass, and there were semis coming past me. I go through bouts of that of just not caring. And I think that the older I get, and if this keeps happening, because it's basically been my whole life, and people are like, you're just a complainer. Okay, I recognize patterns. My pattern recognition is pretty solid. It's been pretty solid since I was a kid. But I've seen the same thing my whole life. Just constant threats, constant struggle. No time in the sun for me. Just working hard for no real payoff. Incremental little payoffs. Seeing like, oh wow, yeah. I've said this before in different videos, like different places I've worked, I've given different ideas. And when I come up with the ideas, it's pretty much scoffed at or just ignored. And then lo and behold, in a couple weeks or in a couple months, the idea is implemented. That stuff happens a lot. And yeah, it's cool when it eventually happens, but it's like, I like to see stuff happen more immediately. I'm really tired of the waiting. So I like to actually enjoy life. Maybe if I actually had some enjoyment, I would still want to be here. No, but I was talking to an old cold worker at the core mill, and stuff like this. But I said, I'm not going to take myself out, but I'm going to do more dangerous things when I really don't want to be here anymore. I won't take myself out. I'll just do more dangerous things. Stop being so cautious. And right now, I have obligations, I have responsibilities, and it's not an ideal time for me to pass on if an 18-wheeler smashes into me. Nor do I really want it to happen. But there are bouts of times where I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. What does that mean? What does that mean? What? Come on, man. What does that mean? I have a lot to live for, so that's why I keep pushing forward. If I didn't have a couple big reasons for me to keep pushing forward, I would be doing a lot more dangerous things right now. Because I just wouldn't care. And I can't, it's so weird, like, I'm supposed to be like, it's weird for me to talk like this, but it's normal to be like, you should want to live until you're like 80 years old and a death, it's just, well, maybe I don't feel like I'm living right now. I've said this repeated times, I feel like I'm in a prison. I have to limit myself to what I do because I can't get hurt. I'm limited economically because of debt, which is my fault, but some of it isn't my fault. I'm limited by the high prices that we have right now. And at some point, it's just going to be like, I don't care. It's like, what's your retirement? I don't know. Maybe I'll just be on the streets. Like one of these other people that have to take substances to cope with life. Maybe that's my retirement. Because when you're constantly punished, when you work hard and you have to deal with having low status, you're being like filthy. Like, I hate being filthy, and I'm filthy for low pay. And I'm not complaining. It doesn't matter where I work, dude. It really doesn't matter where I work. Yeah, some places I could have better climates. Some places I'll be less dirty, but it's still gonna be low pay. They still want to pay me cheap labor. And I still get low status. And I'm being looked at, criminals are looked at better than I am. It's like, dang, that's crazy, man. Like, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have never beat a woman. Not to say I wouldn't hit one. When I say that, I mean, like, hey, listen, you're a pretty formidable opponent. You like the same, you like the same type of, you like women too. You know what I mean? These women that are pretty tough. And I'm not just going to let them do whatever. And just holding them isn't going to be enough because they're pretty strong. So I'm going to have to, you know what I mean? Or I'm being beat up by like 5, so I'm going to have to be aggressive. But the notion of beating a spouse, that would never happen for me. In fact, it's been the opposite. You know, I have made plenty of mistakes in my life. And I've done a lot of good things in my life. But to be looked down on continuously by this society, not seeing the value I have. Me being a law-abiding citizen, me being a hard work, going to work, do what I'm supposed to do. You know, a man like me 40 years ago, the women would have adored. They would have loved to have a man like me. The women nowadays, they don't care. They don't care. I have to be careful about talking about past relationships, but basically every woman I've ever talked to has walked away from me. Anytime I set a boundary up, they walked away. My ex-fiance, hey, I don't like you being out drinking at the bars all night. Oh, I'm doing that anyway. Okay. See ya. That's what I'm talking about. There's just, the good men aren't respected. So, why bother? No, when I say why bother, I mean why bother with relationships? They can walk away for no reason, really. Even if you think that like they're so loyal and they've been loyal, even if you resisted them and they've like, you pushed them away because subconsciously you were testing them, even though you weren't really trying to do it, but you just, it's a defensive mechanism. It's just what you're used to. You're used to people leaving, so you know there's walls that they have to overcome, and they overcome them, and it, like, at the end of the day they still leave. No matter, there's no loyalty, there's no care when you thought you mattered to them. So why bother with anybody new? Why would I even think about emotionally investing in anyone ever again? After being through that, like, you know, I get it. If I cheated on them, if I hit them, if I was a drug addict, no, I raised my kids on my own without welfare. Now, okay, when they were babies, I didn't apply for the welfare. I was just like, okay, cool. We get free housing, we get food stamps. I mean, I work at Wendy's. I don't get paid enough. But I got off of it and I worked the whole time. But, you know, eventually when it was just me and my sons, I raised them on my own. You would think that that'd be more commendable. You would think that people would take an interest in, be like, getting to know you and being like, man, So you did that? No, but they walk away anyway. And not only do they walk away, they go with another man right off the bat. So you know how hard that is to keep moving forward when you have nobody to move on to, and they automatically just move on to somebody else. They're having a blast, they're having fun. You're a main person in their life. You tried to be understanding, you tried to listen to them. You thought that they were a friend. You thought that they were loyal. And it turned out to be all bullshit. It turns out I wish I never met you. I wish I never wasted a single solitary second on you. And this is like 4 women in my life. And I'm just looking at the rest of the landscape of women. You know, the notion of dating. I don't care. I don't care about getting to know anybody anymore. Why? Because I already know what's gonna happen. You're just gonna leave. So what's the point? Just go do your thing, you know what I mean? Because at this point, I'm not competing with other men. I'm just not. If I'm talking to a woman and if that happens again, and there's other men that she thinks that she's better off with, then go be with them. But don't ever come back to me. Like, that's over. I'm not into sharing. You're not gonna go out, have your fun, completely expose yourself to somebody else in all different types of ways, and you think you're gonna come back to me and I'm gonna be monogamous to you? No. You've already broken the bond. You've already left. Why would I ever trust you again? I wasn't good enough then. That means I'm not good enough now for you. Oh, yeah, I might have bettered myself. So what? Why do you deserve it? And this is where I'm at with women. Is I just don't care. And they should be frightened, because there's a lot of men that feel the exact same way as I feel. And, you know, when they wake up and they grow up and life actually happens to them, instead of, you know, them being propped up and not having to feel all the stuff that they should be feeling or going through, and they have to go through the hard stuff. And they want somebody to lean on, but we're not going to be there no more. You invest all this time in getting to know somebody, becoming a main character in their life, and they can shut the door and ghost you. It doesn't matter how long you've been with them. You could be with them 5 years, a few months, a couple years, 10 years. They can shut the door and act like you never existed. That is so crazy to me. You know, one of the things that always baffled me about my ex-fiance was the fact that she lived a block away from her grandma. And For like 6 months, she knew her grandma was about to pass away from like stage 4 cancer. Even her own family couldn't get her to go see her. I got her to go see her, and her grandma died a couple of days later. I was at the funeral. And for somebody, you would think that, like, somebody that does something like that, like, imagine that. Imagine the guilt you would have. Yeah, you went the whole 6 months because you're had anxiety. But imagine if she just never seen her, and she just, you know what I mean? How much she would have to live with herself with that. But she probably doesn't even think about that. She probably doesn't even care. It probably doesn't even register to her. The intimacy in that. Not talking about sex. I'm talking about the whole family likes you. And they can just walk away like you don't matter. And granted, she was young. You know, she was a young woman at that time, but still. That just shows you not every woman is like, you know, when you see something like that, it's like, why don't I just be by myself? You know, how could you just, I don't know, crazy. It's crazy shit, dude. That shit is wild to me. The fact that her daughter looked up to me more than her own father was just why. And then you could just walk away, just no problem. Just replace me like nothing. So why? Why bother with these women? Just let it. This is what I'm saying. Just let it. Just observe the chaos. Just sit back and have popcorn. My motivation is just to be spiteful at this point. Not that I'm gonna add fuel to the fire. Not that I'm gonna go rub their face in it, but I can sit there and chuckle at their misery. Is that bad? Sure. But what else do I have? I never wanted to be this person. I never wanted to be. You know, I wanted to be a good person who cared about others, who wasn't vengeful or spiteful, who just kind of let things go. But, you know, kind of letting things go just doesn't do anything for me. I'm unmotivated. So I gotta do what I have to do to survive. Because that's all this life is for me. It's just trying to survive. It's not thriving, which it should be, but it's just surviving, because this world and God it refuses to ever give me any opportunity. Any real tangible opportunity. Anything that's ever happened in my life, whether it was relationships, jobs, has strictly because of me. You know, I might have had somebody who I knew, or, you know, they gave me a reference, but I made everything happen. Nothing has fallen into my lap. I haven't had the big T-bone, which I'm starving for. I'm salivating for that big T-bone. No, it's just working hard for little scraps, if that. And that's what it is to be a man nowadays.